I work at a prestigious law firm in downtown Chicago, a place where ambition thrives and the stakes are always high. My name is Emily, and I'm a junior associate, clawing my way up in this cutthroat world. I've always been the hardworking type, focused, determined, the kind of woman who dots every I and crosses every T. But lately, something's been pulling me off course. Or rather, someone. It all started a few weeks ago. I was burning the midnight oil on a big case, the kind that could make or break my career. The office was dead quiet after hours, just the hum of the air conditioning and the faint glow of my desk lamp keeping me company. I was deep into a stack of legal briefs when I noticed a light still on down the hall. Michael's office. He's the senior partner here, early 40s, with salt and pepper hair and a presence that fills a room. Brilliant, charismatic, married. I should have kept my head down and ignored it, but curiosity, or maybe something else, got the better of me. I grabbed a file as an excuse and walked toward his door. Soft jazz drifted out, smooth and low, like a secret meant just for me. I knocked lightly. He looked up from his desk, those sharp blue eyes catching mine, a flicker of surprise crossing his face. "Emily, what are you still doing here?" His voice was warm, inviting, the kind of tone that made you want to linger. "Just finishing up some work?" I said, keeping it professional despite the way my pulse quickened. "I saw your light on. Thought you might need a hand." He smiled, a slow, knowing smile that sent a flutter through my stomach. "Actually, I could use a second opinion on this brief. Care to take a look?" I hesitated. It was late. We were alone. Every rule I'd ever set for myself screamed to say no, but the chance to work with Michael, to be near him, I couldn't resist. I stepped inside and shut the door behind me. For the next hour, we pored over the documents, our heads bent close. The air crackled with something unspoken. Every time our hands brushed reaching for the same page, it was like a spark jumped between us. I caught him watching me when he thought I wasn't looking, and I'd be lying if I said I didn't do the same. His cologne, a mix of cedar and something darker, lingered in the space between us. We talked about the case at first, but then it shifted. Jazz, books, little pieces of ourselves we hadn't meant to share. Then his phone buzzed. He glanced at it and sighed. "My wife," he said, a hint of regret in his tone. "I should get going." "Of course," I replied, forcing a smile to hide the sting. "I'll finish up here." He paused at the door, turning back. "Emily, I appreciate this. And I enjoy talking with you." "Me too, Michael." My cheeks burned as I said it. He lingered a second longer, like he wanted to say more, then left. I sat there alone, his scent still in the air, my mind racing. He was married, my boss. This was a line I couldn't cross, but the pull was there, undeniable, and it kept me awake that night. The next few days, it only got worse, or better, depending on how you look at it. We found excuses to work together, to stay late. A coffee break here, a shared glance across the conference room there. Each moment built on the last, a thread tightening between us. I started noticing things, how his tie was always slightly loosened by the end of the day, how his laugh softened when it was just us. Dangerous things to notice. One evening, as we were packing up, he suggested a drink. "Just to unwind," he said, but his eyes said more. My heart pounded, but I agreed. The bar was dim, tucked away, the kind of place where secrets feel safe. We sat in a corner, drinks in hand, and the conversation flowed too easily. His hand brushed mine on the table, and this time, he didn't pull back. His fingers lingered, tracing faint circles on my skin. "Emily," he said, voice low. "I know this is complicated, but I can't stop thinking about you. My breath hitched. Michael, I feel it too, but... You're married. He exhaled, conflicted. I know. I love my wife, but things haven't been right for a while. With you, it's... different. I wanted to believe him, to lean into that pull. But the rational part of me, the part that got me this job, knew this was a mistake. Before I could answer, my phone buzzed. A text from Sarah, my colleague and friend. Hey, where are you? Drinks tonight, remember? I'd forgotten our plans. Sorry, Sarah. Something came up. Can we reschedule? Everything okay? She texted back. You've been off lately. Fine. I lied. Just work. She was too perceptive, and I couldn't risk her guessing anything. I looked back at Michael. His eyes were locked on me, dark with something I couldn't name. I don't want to push you, he said, but I need to know if you feel this too. My mind spun. This was it, the edge of something I couldn't take back. Did I dare? Before I could speak, the bar door swung open. David strode in, another lawyer at the firm, all sharp edges and sharper ambition. He spotted us and smirked, sauntering over. Well, he drawled. Late night strategy session? Michael stiffened. Just unwinding, David, that's all. David's gaze flicked between us, calculating. Sure, enjoy your night. He walked off, but I felt his eyes on us still. David wasn't one to let things slide. He'd dig if he smelled a story. My stomach twisted. If he suspected anything, it could ruin us both. Michael squeezed my hand under the table. Don't worry about him, he murmured, but his voice wavered. I wasn't so sure. And as we sat there, the air thick with what we hadn't said, I didn't notice someone else watching from the shadows, someone who'd make sure our secret wouldn't stay hidden long. Oh, and if you're wondering what happened next, you might want to stick around. Maybe hit that subscribe button too. I've got plenty more confessions to spill. The cool night air hit my face as I stepped out of O'Reilly's, but it did nothing to clear the fog in my head. My heart was still pounding from Michael's touch, his words replaying like a broken record. I can't stop thinking about you. I should have brushed it off, locked it away. He was married, my boss, a walking red flag. But the memory of his hand on mine, the way his eyes softened when he looked at me, it ignited something I couldn't extinguish. I walked faster, heels clicking against the pavement, trying to outrun my thoughts. This was a mistake. I'd worked too hard to build my career, and some reckless fling could unravel it all. Yet, even as I lectured myself, I couldn't stop picturing his smile, the quiet intensity in his voice. By the time I stumbled into my apartment, I was a tangle of nerves. I collapsed onto my bed, staring at the ceiling, dreading and secretly craving seeing him at work tomorrow. The next morning, the office felt like a pressure cooker. I sat in the team meeting, eyes glued to my notes, avoiding Michael's presence, across the table. Then David strolled in, his sharp gaze sweeping the room. When it landed on me, he smirked, and my stomach twisted. So, Michael, David said, his tone dripping with mock innocence as he settled into his chair. I saw you at O'Reilly's last night. Looked like you were having quite the conversation. My breath hitched. I flicked my eyes to Michael, who didn't flinch. Just unwinding with a colleague, he said coolly. Nothing unusual. David arched an eyebrow. Right. Well, it's good to see you letting loose once in a while. Heat crept up my neck. Did David know something? I tried to focus on the meeting, but my mind was stuck on the bar. Michael's hand, the electric charge between us. David's comment hung in the air like a threat. After the meeting, Michael caught me in the hallway. Emily, can I talk to you for a second? I nodded, heart thudding as I followed him to a quiet corner. We need to be careful, he murmured, his voice low and urgent. David's always fishing for dirt. We can't give him anything to work with. I know, I whispered. Maybe we should keep our distance. His eyes searched mine, piercing through my defenses. Is that what you want? No, it was the last thing I wanted, but I couldn't admit that. It's probably for the best, I said, the words tasting like ash. He nodded, but the flicker of disappointment in his expression mirrored my own. All right, let's focus on work. If only it were that simple. That afternoon, Mr. Harrison, our boss, summoned us to his office. Emily, Michael, I need you two on the Peterson case. It's high profile and I trust you to deliver. My stomach sank. More time with Michael? It was a golden opportunity and a disaster waiting to happen. We dove into the case, spending days buried in research and strategy. The late nights crept back, and with them, the tension between us thickened. Every accidental brush of his hand, every time our eyes met over a stack of files, sent sparks through me. One night, we were alone in the conference room, papers strewn across the table. The clock ticked past midnight, the silence heavy. I was exhausted, but Michael's presence kept me wired. Emily, he said abruptly, his voice cutting through the stillness. I can't do this anymore. I looked up, startled. What do you mean? This. He gestured between us, his eyes stormy, pretending there's nothing here. It's killing me. My breath caught in my throat. Michael, we can't. I know, he cut in, stepping closer. I know all the reasons we shouldn't. But when I'm with you, none of them matter. The air crackled. My resolve crumbled as I stood, drawn to him like a magnet. Our faces were inches apart, his breath warm against my skin. I could see the hunger in his eyes, mirroring my own. Our lips hovered, so close. A sharp knock shattered. The moment. We leapt apart as the janitor poked his head in. Sorry to interrupt, just need to clean. Of course, Michael said, voice steady despite the flush on his cheeks. We're wrapping up. We grabbed our things in silence, the almost kiss hanging between us like a ghost. As we left, relief and frustration warred inside me. We dodged a bullet, but I ached for what we'd lost. The next day, I met Sarah for lunch. She zeroed in on my distraction instantly. Emily, what's going on? You've been off for weeks. I sighed, crumbling under her scrutiny. It's complicated. There's someone at work. Her eyes widened. Who? Michael, I confessed. Michael? Your boss? Michael, the married one? I nodded, bracing myself. Emily, are you out of your mind? She hissed. If this gets out, you could lose everything. Your job, your reputation. I know, I snapped, cutting her off. I get it, but I can't stop how I feel. Sarah shook her head, exasperated. Feelings are one thing. Acting on them is another. You need to think about your future. She was right. I knew it. But knowing didn't dull the pull I felt toward him. That evening, as I packed up to leave, my phone buzzed. A text from Michael. Meet me in my office at 8 p.m. We need to talk. My pulse raced. Every rational part of me screamed to say no, to walk away. But my fingers betrayed me. Okay, I typed back. As I walked to his office, my heart thundered. It felt like standing on a cliff's edge, the ground crumbling beneath me. Whatever happened next, there'd be no going back. What will Emily and Michael decide in that late-night meeting? Will they finally cross the line? Or will David's suspicions blow everything apart? Stay tuned for Part 3. of this forbidden confession, right here on Confessions After Hours. Hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. You won't want to miss what's coming. The fluorescent lights buzzed faintly overhead as I sat at my desk, staring at the clock. It was 7:55 p.m. In 5 minutes, I'd be walking into Michael's office, and whatever happened next would change everything. My heart hammered against my ribs, a mix of dread and anticipation churning in my gut. I'd spent the last hour replaying every reason why this was a bad idea. His marriage, our careers, the risk of ruin. But none of them could drown out the pull I felt toward him. I grabbed my phone, fingers trembling as I typed a quick message to Sarah. Heading home soon. Just finishing up. It was a lie, but I couldn't risk her showing up unannounced. She'd been too perceptive lately, her warnings ringing in my ears. You need to think about your future. She was right, but logic had no power over the storm inside me. At exactly 8 p.m., I stood outside Michael's door. The hallway was deserted, the office eerily quiet. I knocked softly. "Come in," his voice called, low and steady. I stepped inside, closing the door behind me. Michael leaned against his desk, arms crossed, his expression unreadable. The air between us crackled with unspoken tension. "Emily," he began, his eyes locking onto mine. "I've been thinking about what you said, about keeping our distance, but I can't do it. Every time I try, it's like fighting gravity." My breath hitched. "Michael, we're playing with fire. If anyone finds out..." "I know," he interrupted, stepping closer, "but I can't pretend anymore. I need to know if you feel the same way." His words were a challenge and a plea. I swallowed hard, my resolve crumbling. "I do," I whispered. "God help me, I do." He closed the distance in 2 strides, his hands cupping my face. For a moment, we just stood there, inches apart, the world narrowing to the space between our lips. Then, as if a dam broke, he kissed me. It was fierce, desperate, a collision of longing and guilt. My fingers tangled in his hair, pulling him closer, as if I could drown out the consequences with the taste of him. His hands slid to my waist, anchoring me to him, and for a few stolen seconds, nothing else mattered. But reality crashed back with a sharp knock on the door. We sprang apart, breathless and wide-eyed. My heart lurched into my throat as the door creaked open. "Michael, Oh!" It was Lisa, the paralegal, her eyes widening as she took in the scene. "I didn't realize you were still here, Emily." I forced a smile, smoothing my hair. "Just wrapping up some work on the Peterson case." She nodded, but her gaze lingered a second too long. "Right. Well, I left those files you asked for on your desk, Michael." "Thanks, Lisa," he said, his voice impressively calm. "I'll take a look tomorrow." She left, but the damage was done. My pulse raced, panic clawing at my chest. "Do you think she suspects something?" Michael shook his head, but his jaw was tight. "She didn't see anything concrete. We'll be fine." I wanted to believe him, but the close call left me rattled. "Maybe we should stop this before it goes any further." His eyes darkened. "Is that what you want?" "No," I admitted, hating how weak I sounded. "But I don't know how to do this without everything blowing up in our faces." He sighed, running a hand through his hair. "I don't either. But I can't walk away from you, Emily. Not now." The weight of his words settled over me, both a comfort and a curse. We were in too deep, and there was no easy way out. The next few days were a blur of stolen glances and whispered conversations. We tried to be discreet, but the tension between us was palpable, a live wire sparking at every touch. David's smirk. Whenever he passed, my desk didn't help. He was like a shark circling, waiting for blood in the water. Then came the bombshell. Mr. Harrison called an emergency meeting. "We've just been handed a major case," he announced, his tone grave. "The client is high profile, and the stakes are enormous. I need my best people on this. Michael, you'll lead. Emily, your second chair." My stomach dropped. More time with Michael, under even more pressure. It was both a dream and a nightmare. We dove into the case, working late into the night, the office our battleground. The long hours only intensified our connection, each shared victory and setback drawing us closer. But the stress was relentless, and cracks began to show. One night, as we pored over depositions, Michael's phone buzzed. He glanced at it and frowned. "It's my wife," he muttered, stepping into the hallway. I tried to focus on the documents, but his voice drifted through the door, tense and clipped. "I told you I'm working late. This case is critical. No, I can't come home right now. We'll talk later." He returned, his expression stormy. I hesitated, then asked, "Is everything okay?" He sighed, rubbing his temples. "It's complicated. Things haven't been great at home for a while." My heart clenched. "Because of me?" "No," he said quickly. "It's been like this long before you. But being with you makes me realize what I've been missing." His words hung between us, heavy with implication. I wanted to ask more, but the look in his eyes stopped me. Instead, I reached for his hand, squeezing it gently. "I'm here if you need to talk." He nodded, but the silence that followed was thick with unspoken truths. Later that week, as I was leaving the office, Sarah cornered me in the elevator. "Emily, we need to talk." Her tone was sharp, no nonsense. I braced myself. "What's up?" "I've been hearing rumors," she said, eyes narrowed, "about you and Michael. Tell me they're not true." My stomach plummeted. "What rumors?" "That you two are involved." She spat the word like it was poison. "Emily, if this is true, you're playing a dangerous game. You could lose everything." I forced a laugh, but it came out brittle. "Sarah, you know how office gossip is. There's nothing going on." She studied me, unconvinced. "I hope you're right, because if David gets wind of this, he'll use it to bury you both." The elevator doors opened and I stepped out, my legs shaky. Sarah's warning echoed in my mind, but it was too late. I was already in too deep. That night, Michael and I met at a secluded cafe, away from prying eyes. The case was reaching its climax, and so were we. As we sat in a dimly lit corner, his hand found mine under the table. "Emily," he said, his voice rough with emotion. "I can't keep doing this, sneaking around, pretending. I want to be with you, openly." My heart soared and sank in the same breath. "Michael, you're married, and we work together. It's impossible." "I know," he admitted. "But I've filed for divorce." The words hit me like a freight train. "What?" "I did it last week," he said, his gaze steady. "My marriage was over long before I met you. I've been unhappy for years, but you made me realize I deserve more. We both do." I stared at him, stunned. "You're serious?" "Dead serious." He leaned closer, his eyes burning with intensity. "I want to be with you, Emily. No more hiding." My mind reeled. This changed everything, and nothing. Even if he was divorcing, the scandal at work could still destroy us. But the hope in his eyes, the promise of something real, was impossible to resist. Before I could respond, my phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "I know about you and Michael. Meet me tomorrow at noon, or I'll expose everything." My blood ran cold. I I showed the message to Michael, whose face paled. "Who sent this?" he demanded. "I don't know," I whispered, fear clawing at my throat. But whoever it is, they're about to blow our lives apart. The next morning, I walked into the office feeling like a woman on trial, my heart pounding with every step. The text from an unknown number had kept me up all night. "Meet me tomorrow at noon, or I'll expose everything." My mind spun with possibilities. David out for revenge? Lisa, who'd caught us that night? Or someone I hadn't even suspected? Michael, and I had planned to face the blackmailer together at a quiet park near the office. As noon approached, dread twisted tighter in my gut. This could end my career, my reputation, and the fragile connection we'd built. I arrived early, spotting Michael pacing under an oak tree, his face tense. When he saw me, he pulled me into a tight hug. And for a fleeting moment, his warmth steadied me. "We'll get through this," he whispered. "No matter what." I nodded, unable to speak. The minutes dragged on until, at exactly noon, a figure stepped out from behind the hedges. It was Sarah, my best friend, the one I'd confided in. "Sarah?" I choked out. "You sent that text?" She stopped a few feet away, guilt and defiance warring on her face. "I didn't want to, Emily, but you left me no choice." Michael's voice cut in, sharp. "What's this about?" Sarah glared at him. "I'm protecting her from you. You're using her, and she's too blind to see it." "That's not true," I snapped. "You don't know us, don't I?" she retorted. "Powerful men like him take what they want and leave us broken. I won't let that happen to you." Michael's jaw tightened. "I'm leaving my marriage for her. This isn't about power. I care about Emily." Sarah's laugh was harsh. "You think that makes you noble? You're still a cheater dragging her down with you." "Sarah, stop," I begged. "I love him." The confession slipped out, raw and real. Michael's eyes widened and Sarah froze. "You love him?" she asked, her anger fading. Tears stung my eyes as I nodded. "I didn't plan it, but I do. I can't walk away." Sarah shook her head. "Emily, this will ruin you. The firm, the gossip." "I know," I interrupted. "But I'd rather face that than live a lie." Michael squeezed my hand. "We'll face it together." Sarah's resolve cracked. "I don't want you hurt," she said quietly. "I know," I replied. "But this is my choice. Please don't make it harder." After a long pause, she sighed. "Fine, I won't tell. But if this blows up, don't say I didn't warn you." She walked away, leaving me rattled but relieved. That afternoon, Michael and I sat in his office, the air thick with uncertainty. "What now?" I whispered. He leaned back. "I've started the divorce. Once it's done, we can be together openly. Until then, we stay careful, especially here." "And Mr. Harrison?" I asked. "We tell him," he said. "It's only fair." The next day, we faced Mr. Harrison, my nerves fraying as Michael explained everything. "Sir, Emily and I have feelings for each other. My marriage is ending. It's been over for a while." Mr. Harrison frowned. "The firm has strict rules about this." "We know," Michael said. "We'll accept the consequences." After a tense silence, Mr. Harrison spoke. "You're both valuable here. If you keep it discreet until the divorce is final and Emily transfers teams, I might overlook this." Relief hit me hard. "Thank you, sir. We'll make it work." "Don't make me regret it," he warned. Weeks later, we settled into a cautious routine, professional at work, stealing moments outside. One night on my couch, Michael turned to me. "When the divorce is final, let's start fresh. Maybe leave the firm, go somewhere new. You'd leave your career? I asked, stunned. For you? Yes, he said, brushing my hair back. You're worth it. I love you, I said, tears of joy spilling over. I love you too, he replied, pulling me close. The past month's weight lifted, replaced by hope. Looking back, I don't regret it. Love is messy, forbidden sometimes, but worth the fight. What would you do in my place? Risk it all for happiness? Tell me below. If you want more stories like this, subscribe and hit the bell. Until next time, keep your secrets close and your heart closer.